welcome everyone to What the Fiction. And we are going to do a preview episode of Bridgerton Season 4 because we were never covering this as things were released before. And so you get way more episodes because we're super duper excited. And joining me for all of this Bridgerton fun is my good friend and yours, Missy.
Hello, long time no listen.
It's been a minute since we finished our Bridgerton deep dives. And gentle listeners, we are here.
Yes, we have returned.
Fangirl all about Bridgerton Season 4, which is entirely based on an offer from a gentleman.
Yes, the Benedict Bridgerton story.
The Benedict Bridgerton story. And traditionally, this one comes before Colin's story.
Yes. In the book order, this was before Colin's. It caused a bit of a snafu in the fandom when they reversed the order, but I think it's going to be really fun.
And if you've been listening to my Bridgerton commentary and our Bridgerton commentary previously, you'll know that I have struggled with the character of Bridgerton of Benedict. He has been on my list. Yeah. I'm just like exhausted by him at this point.
Yeah.
So
and I love him, but I understand exactly where you're coming from. And especially at this point in his arc, I am also a little tired of him. So I'm looking forward to seeing him get his butt kicked.
I mean, to be fair, I was tired of Anthony before his season, and he only had one season for us to be tired of him.
I know.
Through.
Yep.
These shenanigans must end.
Yep.
Poor Gregory is gonna get like so much dislike from me if he goes through these awkward stages too.
It's interesting. I'm very curious to see whether they kind of get better at writing all the other characters aside from the main couple, because I do think, season 1, I thought they did a decent job overall because that they were introducing the character, so it was easy to be like, oh, look, they all get their own storyline, right? Season 2, it definitely, you could feel them starting to kind of, drag out Benedict's story, and, they gave Eloise a side quest boyfriend, and then that was the end of that.
Call in like seek out Marina and do all that stuff. Yeah,
exactly. So they and none of, in fairness, I would say in season 2, honestly, none of the side ones were very compelling, other than maybe Eloise. Eloise had a pretty interesting one. But other than that, I was like, eh. And then season 3, I think we talked about how there were some interesting stories, but Benedict and his weird threesome just was not super compelling, and you could feel them dragging it out in order to lead him up to this.
It could have been done in a
season
better way, because even some of the stuff in season 1 for Benedict was more interesting to me.
Well, it's always more interesting when they lean into his art, because it's clearly a really critical part of his character. And the last season, he was really, we talked about this on the episode, he was really leaning away from all that and, almost wouldn't call himself an artist anymore. So one of the things I'm most excited about in the trailers for this season is that clearly he's getting back into art now that he has met his muse.
And we did call out that we thought that was purposeful, that they were basically saying he is very broken right now.
Yep.
But when he meets Sophie, that it's going to inspire him to be more artistic and more himself and all of those things.
Yeah.
Which is very exciting for both of us, I think.
Yes. So with that in mind, have you read An Offer from a Gentleman, Marie Claire?
I have. It is one of the 4 books I've read. Yeah. So I am looking forward to reading more of them. But this was the one where I fell in love with Sophie as a character. I love her so much.
Yes, I agree with that. And I think she carries that whole book on her back too.
Yeah, no. And Benedict kind of is on my shit list in the book.
Just everyone, I need you all to understand that in the book, he is a complete jerk. He is not at all the charming, sweet Benedict that we recognize from the show. So part of the reason why I'm glad that we're getting this is because it's going to redeem that aspect of the book for me of like, I'm really going to root for him now. Whereas in the book, I was like, oh, Sophie, you could do so much better.
Some of the things that Shonda has said about this season, I'm very much looking forward to. Like, as an early fan of Downton Abbey and, you know, kind of like that feeling of things.
The upstairs, downstairs.
Yeah, the upstairs, downstairs she described as like one of the things. And, you know, we've heard her talk about how she views Bridgerton as this workplace drama. And I think that leaning into the disparity as well as the relationships that build between those two places is going to be really, really important to this season. On a like completely side note, Gilded Age does a really good upstairs, downstairs all over the place. It's really great. And like people switching power dynamics and what is power really and all of that stuff is asked. And it's really great. And I do expect to see a lot of that. I also expect to see a lot of we're hidden away from this dynamic. And especially, we will go into some spoilers from the book, the cabin.
Yes. There's so many things I'm looking forward to because it's not actually a dynamic that Bridgerton has really explored very much in the past. The closest we got, I would say, was Eloise and Theo, because Theo was very clearly not in her hierarchy, like on the same level. And so it was like that was a forbidden relationship because of their difference in class. But other than that, every single romance in Bridgerton, really, at least the main romances, have all been basically in the same class, you know? And so there's never been this question of, well, you know, it's just not possible to have a relationship. And so what is very interesting about Benedict and Sophie is that firstly, it takes that dynamic and puts it front and center and like really interrogates it and is like, you know, okay, this is such a wonderful family, but they're also like a very noble, rich family. How are they going to tolerate this, you know,
situation?
This cross-class relationship. And it also gets to, frankly, what the title refers to. An offer from a gentleman, basically, again, spoilers, but he asks her to become his mistress because that is all she can be in her class. It is not possible for her to become his wife. So I am very curious to see how they treat that in the show.
And she's like not interested in that.
No, she's like,
and
no,
yet,
that's not what I want.
And this is, so in this book, it doesn't happen. Like, even though they show it happening in season 2, this is the book that there is sex out of marriage.
Yeah.
And season 2, the book that it's based on, the Viscount Who Loved Me, that does not actually happen in the book.
Right.
So this is like the first time that we see like characters choosing to basically have sex out of marriage, and how they've played it up in the story is like, that's like death, like, you know, like, you know, or you become the mistress, or you become this thing that is not going to be okay to the family. Well,
like, if you think about how they treated what was her name, what's the Sopranos name that Anthony was with in the first season? Well, I forget. It starts with an S, but I forgot what it was. Sorry, guys. Anyway, when he's with her, and I remember being really irritated about how that was handled, because they sort of took all the blame off of Anthony by the end of the season. They were like, oh no, it was her choice and she didn't want to be forced to be a lady. So, and I was like, yeah, but then you kind of like took all the responsibility away from him, from frankly treating her like trash. Like he
treated her so badly, and then didn't respect her to be like, I'm sorry, I'm done with you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like again, we were done with Anthony by the end of the first season.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the thing. You know? Like they've so I guess I'm wrong about them not having more cross class. They have had a few other.
Yeah.
So that's because that's the other one. But that one was like what you would expect from this relationship with Benedict and Sophie. And it's clearly what Benedict expects is like, okay, this woman is not in my social class, but I am attracted to her. So she's just going to be my mistress. And of course, Sophie, really for no reason other than she just has a very strong sense of self, is like, I don't want that. Like, I will sleep with you, but I will not become your mistress. No.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting. And like I said, I'm fascinated to see how they treat it, especially because there are some pretty regressive sexual politics in the book that I'm hoping don't make it into the show. So I'm like, please no. So again, I have a decent amount of trust in the showrunners to, adapt things in a way that is a lot more palatable. So I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, Sophie herself is an absolutely charming character, and everything I've seen of Yaron Ha so far is like, she's perfect.
and she's
so good.
She's playing up the things that I was really looking forward to, which is that she has a little bit of sass about her. She's very, very smart, but also very, very kind and sweet, which really does play into the fairy tale elements that they pull on quite heavily for this story, which is Cinderella.
Yes, it's extremely Cinderella. And to that point, I want to read from the Cinderella Bible, which is
your own Tumblr post.
Yes, sorry guys. No, well that's not that.
No, I'm
my Tumblr post is not the Cinderella Bible, but I do quote the Cinderella Bible, which is
I'm just kidding.
I know. It's a collection of tales. So if you're not familiar with the Sur la Lune fairy tale series, edited by Heidi Ann Heiner, it takes each of the sort of famous fairy tale types and then collects that particular tale type from all over the world. I actually really, really love it. It's an amazing resource anytime I'm looking for examples from all over the world and be able to compare them. And so in the Cinderella tales from around the world, we cover this tale type, which has 5 primary motifs. So these are 1, a persecuted heroine, usually by family. 2, help or a helper, usually magic. 3, meeting the prince, usually with true identity disguised. 4, identification or penetration of disguise, usually by means of an object. And 5, marriage to the prince. So obviously this is as Cinderella as you can get. And we talked about how there were little bits of Cinderella in season 3.
Yep.
Remember we talked
there
about
absolutely were.
Her transformation and the midnight deadline and the flights from the 3 balls and the things. So we talked about that. There was definitely a lot of Cinderella in there. Plus her family treated her badly and all of that. So it was all there.
2 wicked steps, no actual sisters, wicked stepmom. I mean, actual mom. In this, though, Sophie is legitimately the stepchild.
She is, yes. She's the actual
of the family that she is now in service of at the start of the show.
Right.
And then she was like, well, maybe I could go to a ball. I dream of going to a ball, which is so Cinderella. And then the servants help her, which is, of course, like a big thing.
The helper, exactly.
The helpers help. And then she goes and she is masked because this ball is the famous Bridgerton Masquerade Ball.
Yes. Yes. Which, I do want to mention that apparently there are multiple annual balls that the Bridgertons hold. They hold the flower ball, which we saw in season 2, and they hold the masquerade ball, which we're just now seeing for the first time.
They have the one in the country. They have the masquerade ball. And then there's, I think, another one. But they're not in all of the books because the books kind of take place at different times. And in the book, there is time change.
Yeah, there's a significant time.
There's a jump.
Yeah.
Significant. I think it's over a year or 2.
It is.
It's a long time. Like she disappears and he's like crazy for a long time.
Yep. Yeah.
He meets her once and then he's like, nope, that was her. That's the girl.
Yep. She's the one. Yeah. No.
And so I kind of wonder how they're going to show that. Are they going to show an entire, like, they could do it in montage because that's sort of like how, like, basically like show a bunch of balls and like show things whirling around and like him being crazy. They sort of did it with Anthony in the start of his season with a little,
yeah,
tied into his like I am going to be the Viscount and I must be perfect. Like,
Yeah.
so they could do it in that sort of way. So
Yeah.
I wonder if they will do a significant time jump like they did.
I'm curious. I don't know, because it would be really interesting, because you'd have to do something with all the rest of the characters then to indicate the passage of time. So I am that's been one of the things I'm most curious about in terms of how they're going to handle it, because yeah, it's a big time jump in the book. And the other thing I want to bring up is that it's pretty early in the book, so they couldn't put it at like mid-season.
What's the first thing that happens in the book?
Yeah, it's like basically they meet at the ball, then there's this giant time jump, and then they meet again. But that's it. Yeah, other than that, it's a pretty big gap. So
yep.
Yeah, it's interesting. So I'll be very curious to see what happens with that. I don't know. I'm not sure, but I love all the Cinderella stuff. One of the things I'm also looking forward to is what are going to be some of the other tales that we're going to see come up. I can't tell from the trailers, but I'm looking forward to finding out.
Yeah. Other things that we see. I also wanted to talk about, we know from the trailers and from like the book that it's actually a glove.
Yes.
Some of the kind of like cut like scenes that they've shown us, it is the glove that he keeps, not the shoe.
Right. Because, typically Cinderella loses her shoe. In this case, she loses her glove, and that potentially has real significance. I feel like the first thing to mention here is that all Cinderellas losing a part of their clothing, that is a loss of a part of their animal skin. So this is
related to Swan Maiden
exactly
tales.
Right. So when she is at the ball, she is in her enchanted form. And so she is effectively wearing an animal skin. Her mask is part of it, all of her clothing. Her persona as the Lady in Silver, that is her transformed, animal bride self.
It's like magical. You're a magical version of yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so when he has the glove, he has part of her animal skin. So what's interesting to her is, on the one hand, it will be about returning it to her. And on the other hand, it will be discovering that is not who she truly is. Who she truly is the person underneath. Hence, also in the trailers, you see a lot of their hands touching.
Yeah, there's hands touching. She touches his face in this clip that was just released as we're recording this. I think hands and touching will be really, really important. As opposed to the shoe that always represented her running away. Right? It was because like Cinderella in the shoe version, she's always running away, always.
Right.
Whereas this is going to be about them bridging that gap between the two of them to actually touch and be together.
Yeah, and I think that it also ties into the mask as well, because masks, we've said, because they obscure, they often have a lot to do with sight. So one who is masked has sort of like blinded others from seeing who they are, or they have obscured the view of who they really are. And again, spoilers from the book, but the way he finally discovers her identity is that she plays blind man's bluff with Gregory and Hyacinth. And so she's got like, a fabric across her eyes to blind her. And that's when he sees only the bottom half of her face and recognizes her. So it'll be very interesting, because there's definitely going to be those themes of, being blind to the truth and, obscuring reality, obscuring identity. So I'm really looking forward to that as well.
Masks also have to do with persona and the way that you really adapt to the world and change who you want to be is through who you represent and who you put out there. And so the mask itself is hiding who she is, like we talked about, but it also could show a truth that nobody else can see when she's not wearing the magical outfit.
Yep.
Too.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Cool stuff.
Okay, I have one other thing. I just thought of a theme that is going to show up for sure, and it is the theme of being caged or trapped.
Right, that happens at the cabin.
Right. Well, not just at the cabin. It shows up lots of places. It's, I think Araminta closes her in a closet one time.
Oh yeah,
or,
right.
like,
And she's also like in servitude as well. So there's also that
and
piece.
at the very end, she actually goes to jail because she gets accused of a crime. And so they put her in jail.
Right.
And so it's like that. And then that becomes the ultimate question of, can she break out of this prison of her social status, basically? And so I think we're going to see a lot of her being trapped or entrapped, enclosed, in some way, restrained. And so we're going to see a lot of that.
That'll be really, really interesting to see. Did you want to talk about some of the other characters?
Yeah. I mean, we only see bits of them in the trailer, but it all looks really fun. So yeah.
What stood out to you the most?
I think it has to be Francesca and John, because they are back and they're very cute and lovey-dovey. And we know where their story is going. So I'm just very curious to see what they do with them. And I'm hoping it's not like what they did with Anthony and Kate, where they just make them so cutesy that it's kind of nauseating. I need them to please give them a struggle. Please give them a challenge. I really like it when these characters have interesting, problems to deal with. And then similarly, I'm always excited to see Penn and Colin again. They have a baby now.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So
and
cute.
It's going to be different than the books because Lady Whistledown was not out in public in there. So it'll be, to me, that's going to be really interesting to see like how they play that. And we've seen some clips of that as well.
Right. Exactly. I do like, she's still on the hook for the Queen's demands, even though her identity is revealed. So, the Queen still expects to be entertained. So I think that will be really interesting. I'm very curious what's going to happen with Lady Danbury. And then obviously I'm very excited to see hopefully more romance progress between Violet and Marcus Anderson. So
didn't she look stunning in like the shots we saw her in from the Masquerade Ball?
Yes.
Wow.
I'm just like, all of her, like I got a closer look at some of her costumes in the trailer, and she just looks amazing in all of them. It's great. Oh, speaking of which, so brief side note, I'm confused. What is the reason that she's telling Benedict he has to marry? I thought we had established that like Anthony is married, he's got the heir taken care of. Colin is married and has another baby. Like, I mean, nobody's like, why would she be pressuring Benedict? Unless other than for his own good.
She just feels like all of her children should be happy and married.
Yeah, I guess that's it.
That's kind of how it plays out. She does mention it in the book. Like that's true. Something that she wants him to do, but she's also become more relaxed about it.
Yeah.
I think she just wants endless grandbabies. I
think it's that. And I think it's also just, he's not doing great by this point in time. He's kind of flailing around. And so I think she's just like, what would fix you?
True love.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what fixed all of my children thus far and myself?
Exactly.
Finding a love match. Let me help you with that.
Exactly. So great. So it'll be really fun. Yeah, and who we didn't see a lot of in the trailer though was Eloise. She's there supporting Benedict, which I love, but other than that, she's barely there.
I'm wondering. I sort of was wondering if they would start the letters.
Yeah, I was gonna say
because the letters are supposed to happen for a really long time before they actually meet.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like that would be cool because then we would get like these tastes of this letter writing that happen in her season that I think would be interesting. But it does create some complexities because the character that she's like opposite, although it could just be innocent, right? Like it is just academic or something like that at that point.
We'll see. I don't know. I am really interested in that because we've talked about this before. I really don't know how they're going to thread that needle.
I know.
So I'm sort of like, I guess we'll see. Honestly, they've set themselves up for quite a few challenging storylines, and I sort of love that it looks like they're leaning into that. They're like, yeah, we'll take on the harder storylines. I'm like, great, good for you. So, and that's also part of the reason why I think that they will handle this upstairs, downstairs story very well, because I think that, I think it's going to go a lot farther than what we see in the books, where they don't really challenge the social structure in the book. And I think they will challenge it a lot more here.
Because they call out those things a lot stronger in the show than they do in the books.
They do.
Yeah.
They do. Exactly.
Yeah. Another kind of side note, I'm really looking forward to Gregory's first crush. That is the rumor that he's going to have a crush.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know that.
That's going to be cute. And then
That's
I think
exciting.
Hyacinth will also have something happening just to like lay the groundwork. The actress herself said that she is going to be trying to learn Italian.
What?
Because in Hyacinth's book, she speaks Italian.
Oh, interesting.
And I'm like,
okay,
that's cool. That's
All
a
right.
lot.
All right, we'll see.
Learn a
We'll see.
language.
Very interesting.
Yep.
Okay.
And you know, more of the like, what are we gonna get? We'll get breadcrumbs of where the character is, each character is, especially Eloise, if Eloise's season is gonna be next.
Yeah, and I feel
Probably
like
should
it
be.
has to be next. I feel because just thinking of how, again, I feel like while I like the order that they chose, I do feel like they just stretched Benedict's story a little longer than it could really manage.
Yeah.
And that's why we're kind of tired of him at this point. And I worry that if they stretched Eloise any longer, it would be the same feeling of like, it's just a little too much for her to remain a compelling character in time for her own season. And I want that for her. And I feel like they've got the space they need now for Francesca because of, you know, she is currently married and they can do something with that while they are building up to her season, you know, and then obviously Gregory and Hyacinth, we'll get there when we get there. But I think Eloise absolutely has to be next.
I agree. I also think there's some stuff in Eloise's book that we might see. Eloise is supposed to be incredibly popular in this season before she gets married.
I wonder how that happens.
Like she is supposed to basically have turned down multiple proposals.
Huh. Interesting.
That's mentioned in her book. And then she doesn't want to settle for anything less than what Kate and Anthony have. And how spectacular Benedict and Sophie's relationship is.
Okay, I need to go read that book. I haven't read it yet. I feel like I need to read it now. So, okay, I'll have to go read it because Eloise is one of the characters I've loved from the beginning, and one of the things I've loved most about her is I feel more than any of the other Bridgertons, with the possible exception of Anthony, is she is the one that they have allowed to be most flawed. So that's part of what makes her a really interesting character is she screws up a lot.
On a side note, we want to see Anthony stressed. It's in his nature.
Yes. I'm sorry. He's not like chill, happy.
He might have been. It's fine. Yeah. He's now not chill anymore. He is now stressed.
On his honeymoon, we get it. But now he's not on his honeymoon anymore. I want to see Anthony go back to being a control freak and
like maybe mellowed a little bit, but like also like being a weirdo.
Yeah, like
he should have been such a weirdo about her being pregnant. Like he should have just been.
Listen. The Anthony we know from everything we know would have been losing his mind about her being pregnant. He would have not been sanguine and chill and super giggly about it. He would have been freaking out. So I need them to rectify that. Give me messy Anthony. Like he's a messy character.
I just like it when suddenly he like turns on the crazy.
Yeah.
Like, it's so good. Like, wait a second. Who did what now?
What do you mean?
Who do I need to go and kill?
Yeah, exactly. That's what, see, and we've talked about this before, but that's why I'm actually also really looking forward to the Gregory and Hyacinth seasons, because I feel like you're gonna see hyper protective mode from all of the older siblings.
Yeah.
I'm very excited about that. So it'll be fun.
Oh my goodness. It's awesome. I'm so looking forward to this season.
Love it.
I do have to say, I was like wondering what the chemistry would be like, but they have released enough clips between Benedict and Sophie that I'm like, oh girl.
Yeah, no, I'm sold. I'm so, and it's great because it love at first sight can sometimes be very difficult to sell. I personally, it's absolutely one of my favorite dynamics. I think it's just
samesies, and I also love it when the guy becomes so freaking obsessed. He's like, so obsessed. There is nobody but you in the world. I call it like whatever the name is, sexual. Like, so Benedict suddenly becomes a Sophie sexual.
Oh, he is. He absolutely is.
I just love that dynamic. It is like, put it on like my drama tags or on my like AO3 account. Like, just like be like, this is what Marie Claire likes. This is what I like. I will read anything. I will watch anything that has that dynamic.
Yeah. And I think what the other thing that makes that interesting is that, so kind of a related dynamic that I don't usually like in mainstream published romance is when it's like, this dude is a rake and sleeps with all these women, but that never means anything to him. And then this one woman actually then it means something. And I don't usually like that. But what I am looking forward to with this one, because they specifically interrogate that in the story, because the whole point is that he's trying to be like, oh, no, you're different, Sophie. And she's like, I'm different, but you just want me to be your mistress.
Yeah, exactly.
And so she calls him on it in the book. And so I'm actually looking forward to it, because he's going to do that to her and be like, oh my gosh, none of these women meant anything to me, but you mean everything to me. And she's going to be like, do I know? And, and she's going to make him think about it. And he's going to have to very seriously consider how he shows up for her as an equal partner, and how he treats her, and how, like, is he giving her the full dignity and respect that she deserves if he's very serious about, being a partner to her. And so I am looking forward to that, because I don't think we get enough of that in these types of stories.
I agree. And there are some problematic bits in the book. He captures her and holds her. And that is like he doesn't let her leave. Yeah. Like, that is a thing that happens. Yeah. So.
Well, and he does it with the whole, I'm doing it for your own good.
I'm trying to protect you.
I hate.
It's just, it ends up playing out not so great in the book, in that, like, it doesn't feel convincing. He's just doing it from a selfish lens, which I also think is okay. Like, to tell the story and then figure out how to resolve it satisfactorily, because flaws are very human. Yeah. But it actually shows, like, how much she's justified in calling him out on all of his BS.
Yeah.
Yes,
exactly. So book Benedict gets better than he deserves. And so I am looking forward to seeing show Benedict get properly torn down to size before he comes to his sentence. So we'll see.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Oh, man.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm also curious to see if Sophie herself has any artistic pursuit.
Oh, interesting.
I think that could be really interesting if she's into that.
Yeah, they don't really give her much other than, like, her situation and her wits. They kind of like make a big deal about how smart she is. Yeah. And how she's able to, like, kind of get herself out of situations. But they don't really give her any hobbies because she doesn't have time.
Yeah, right. Which is fair, but it's also, let's give an example. I could see them being like, well, she has to do all the mending and everything, so she's actually quite an accomplished seamstress, which is an artistic pursuit. Like, I could see them doing stuff like that. So we'll see.
She's got really amazing embroidery because
or something like that. Right?
Yeah, that would be really nice so that they're like the artsy ones, unlike Penn and Colin, who are the writers.
Right, and when she's in the book, when she's young, she does take lessons with the stepsisters.
Right. She
Not
learns
until she
piano and a few other things,
exactly.
right? Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's not
yeah.
until she gets older that they kick her out of the lessons, which then, of course, comes in play with her not knowing how to dance when she goes to the ball.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh, there's so many good moments. The ball
Yeah.
itself is like a really fun read. Like if you're just like, I
Yes.
want to get in the feel of this, go and pick it up and like
Mhm.
read those scenes. They're really fun
Mhm.
and they're right at the start. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
good.
I think the book is like, it's perfectly fine. I just really struggled with Benedict himself. I just thought he's just written as such a jerk. It was hard. And so it made it easier for me knowing that I do find show Benedict pretty charming overall. I was like, that's all right. They're going to fix this. That was my overall feeling as I was reading. I was like, they're going to fix it. It's fine.
And my feelings are I'm really like into main character Halo. So
Yep.
like
Yeah.
when they turn the whole world around and make it all about them, we
Yeah.
as the audience see them as the main character and I'm into
Right.
it.
We go
So,
along for the ride. It's,
yeah.
like, yeah, like we talked about Colin's glow up last season and everything. It was great. So I'm looking forward to Benedict. And again, Sophie herself is such a wonderful character that he can only be improved by association with her. So
She really is. Yeah. And I'm
mhm.
again very excited to see her in this
Mhm.
in this role. Is there a trope that you're hoping to see?
Ooh,
Because we've talked about this with like the other
mhm.
seasons and how
Mhm.
like absolutely romance tropey / TV tropey they are.
Yeah, I know they absolutely are. I think just I do want to see him grovel. I mean, that's part of the reason why I'm so looking forward to the jail scene because in the book, to be honest, Violet is sort of the hero of that scene.
Mm.
And I really want, you know what I want it to be? Similar to like in Ever After, where Prince Henry dashes off to like rescue Danielle, but then she rescues him herself before he can get there.
Yeah.
And then he has to like kneel at her feet and grovel, and it's fantastic. So that whole sequence is amazing.
Speaking of a Cinderella story.
Exactly. So I'm like, that's kind of what I want. I want, rather than it be, oh, Violet shows up and gets her out, I want her to find some way to get herself out and then him show up like, oh, I was going to rescue you, but now let me grovel at your feet. I'm here for that. So that I would like to see.
That. Like, take all the lessons learned by how wonderful Ever After is. And
so good.
Give us those things. Yeah.
I know.
Like when she picks him up in Ever After. Oh my God.
That is still one of the greatest. See, if you, side note, if we're talking about Cinderella adaptations, if you have not seen Ever After, please, please, please go watch it. It is classic. It is one of the best fairy tale adaptations on screen. It is so very good.
It's magical, even though they try to make it realistic.
Yes. Yeah.
And that is like wonderful.
Yes. So good. It stands the test of time, in my opinion. It is so solid. Angelica Houston is chewing up the scenery. It's just great stuff, man. It's so good.
Angelica Houston as the evil stepmom is just so good. And Drew Barrymore, like hats off to Drew Barrymore. That was like a really good role for her.
Absolutely, it's a perfect fit for her. She was so good. And I mean, her accent sounds ridiculous, but it's still, you still go with it. It's still good. It's
her like, British accent
I know
that's in France. Like what?
I know. It's whatever. It's fine. It's still fun. It's really, really good. And I think it really nails this exact dynamic that we're talking about.
Yeah.
You know, she's in a difficult situation, but she's super smart. She knows her own worth. And so she's just really on top of it. And it makes perfect sense that the prince is an absolute disaster for her from the start. Like, I mean, he meets her and he's immediately just blown away. He's like, who is this person?
Who is this person who I'm a prince.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that that's what's going to happen with Benedict. And I think that part of Benedict's problem is that life is just so easy for him. It demands nothing of him. He can just coast along, just doing whatever, blah, 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 you know. And so the fact of the matter is that Sophie challenges him. And that's part of why he's interested in her.
Yeah. The challenge as well as somebody to rise to the occasion for.
Yes.
Right. So like oftentimes I talk about with people that I know that becoming a parent, choosing to be a spouse, choosing to take on sort of challenges are what defines me.
Yeah.
Right? The hard makes me good.
Yeah. Yes.
And so the hard that is Sophie and what she represents to the challenge to his worldview and what is in there and making that work will bring out the best in Benedict. I hope.
Yeah. Right. And I think that for Sophie, then, I think it's holding true to the knowledge of her own value when everything in the world tells her she's worth nothing. Because that's what happens in the book, is that, like, she believes that she has no value from birth because of the fact that she is a bastard, and so her father cannot really acknowledge her. And so, you know, she realizes that she can never rise above a certain station. Then she's horribly mistreated by her stepmother and everything as she becomes a servant. And then, you know, even with Benedict, it's this idea of like, well, he's never going to make you his wife, so what are we doing here? And all that. So it's everything about her society and everyone in her life is telling her, you have no value, you have no value, you have no value. And somehow she really holds on to a belief in her own value in spite of that. And that's why she wins, frankly, in the end. That's why she gets the guy, is because she always knew her own worth in spite of everything. And so, but she will be challenged and she will be pushed to the absolute limit, and just broken down in horrible ways. And this is, so to a great extent, that is the sort of hidden goddess story, is that there is a goddess within her, but it will take her being torn down to, you know, nothing in order to find it.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see that. I also hope we get a solid comeuppance to her stepmother and stepsisters.
Oh yes, please! I want it.
Well,
no, because remember, it's so again, kind of with the comparison to Ever After. One of the stepsisters turns out to be kind of okay. Yeah. So one's really awful, and the other one's not bad.
I mean, that's also sometimes in some of the Cinderella tale, too, that are more modern. They try to make one of the sisters. Like in Cinderella 2, one of the sisters is nice. Like it's becoming more of this thing that they like to show that like kindness redeems even these people that like tormented you your whole life.
Well, it's also good because I and this is something else we can get into, but I like the approach to disillusionment, because that's what happens with these sort of like the stepsisters who turn out to be less wicked. Is they're able to look at how their mother in this case is treating their step-sibling and go, wait, that's not okay. And they become kind of disillusioned. And so I find that very interesting, because I think it speaks to a lot of people who maybe are looking at their elders and going, whoa, this doesn't seem okay.
So, looking around being like, what you've taught me my entire life is not actually good.
And I don't like this world you've built, and maybe I want to make something different. Exactly. So I'm excited to see what they do with it.
And so we will be talking about part 1 and then separately part 2.
Yes,
because we wanna.
Because it's gonna be fun.
So Missy, any final thoughts before we wrap this episode up?
Only that with everything just being uniformly awful everywhere right now, I really think this show could not come at a better time, because firstly, I think people deserve escapism, and secondly, I do expect certain aspects of the season to be in conversation with our current reality. So looking forward to both.
Absolutely. Thank you, Missy, for joining me for this little preview.
Thank you, Marie-Claire.
Missy, where can people find you if they're looking for you online?
All right. Please look for me on Tumblr, where I am All Girls Are Princesses.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. If you want to follow the show, you can find us on Blue Sky at What the Fiction, I think. Or WT Fiction?
Something like that.
Could be that. Just look in the liner notes. I don't remember. We'll be back for part 1 and part 2 of season 4. Cheers.